You want to hear something strange, almost funny. I'm 104 years old, and I still have things in my closet I don't need. Shoes I made back in 1983. Real leather, perfect stitching. The kind of shoes that were meant to outlive the man who made them. And they did, because my feet are too swollen now to wear them. So why are they still there? Because human beings are terrible at letting go. We don't keep things because we need them. We keep them because they remind us of who we used to be. And slowly, quietly, those things start owning us, while we keep telling ourselves we own them. That's what I want to talk to you about. Not your comic books, not your grandmother's china, not the things people usually argue about. I'm talking about the things that are eating your life, the things that drain your time, your energy, your peace, while pretending to be important. I learned this too late, and that's why I'm telling you now, so maybe, just maybe, you don't have to be as foolish as I was. I'm going to tell you 10 things you need to sell, give away or let go of before you retire. Not because they're bad, but because holding on to them costs you more than money. Let's start with the biggest one. Number 1, sell the house that's too big for your life now. Let me tell you about my friend Carmine. God rest his soul. He died in 2019, 92 years old. Construction man. Hands like iron. Built his life with sweat and pain and pride. He had a house in Staten Island, 4 bedrooms, finished basement, backyard with a fig tree he planted in 1967. He raised 5 children in that house. By the time he was 85, he was living in 3 rooms. The kitchen, the bedroom, the bathroom, the rest of the house, ghosts, dust, memories he couldn't reach anymore because the stairs destroyed his knees. His kids begged him, "Pop, sell the house, come live near us." And Carmine always said the same thing. "This is where your mother made Sunday gravy. This is where you took your first steps. I can't leave." And then one day he fell down those stairs, broke his hip, spent his last year in a nursing home. The house, it sat empty, eating money, eating taxes, eating maintenance. His children sold it after he died. Here's what I need you to understand. Listen carefully. A house is wood and brick. The love that happened there, that lives inside you. You don't need the building to keep the memories. I learned that the hard way. When my shoe shop burned down in 1978, I was 58 years old. 30 years of work gone in one night. I stood in the ashes thinking my life was over. Everything my father taught me. Every tool. Every pair of shoes. Gone. But you know what didn't burn? What my father put in me. The way he taught me to read leather. The way he'd hold up a finished shoe and nod. That was his version of I love you. Fire can't burn that. So if you're rattling around in a house that's too big, paying for rooms you don't use, maintaining a yard that breaks your back, sell it. Take the money, buy something smaller, use the rest to live. You're not betraying your memories. You're honoring them by actually enjoying the time you have left. Number 2, sell your need to rescue your adult children. This one might make some of you angry. Good. Be angry. Then listen. My son Enzo Jr., he's 80 now, still practicing law, still stubborn as a mule, just like his old man. When he was 32, He came to me, scared, desperate, bad investments, people chasing him. He needed money. I gave it to him, every penny he asked for. No questions, no lectures. I'm his father. That's what fathers do. Right, wrong. Because 3 years later, same thing. 5 years later, same thing again. I had taught him that Papa would always fix it, and by doing so I was teaching him helplessness. It wasn't until Gloria, my second wife, the love of my second life, sat me down and said quietly but firmly, "Sal, you're not helping him. You're crippling him." And I argued. Oh, I wanted to argue, but she looked at me in a way that made me shut up and listen. She said, "Your son is a grown man with a law degree. He can figure this out, but he won't because you won't let him." That was 1994. I told Enzo, "I love you, but this is the last time. Next time you figure it out yourself." He didn't speak to me for 6 months. Do you know what happened next? He never asked for money again. And 20 years later he told me, "That was the best thing you ever did for me." So here's your homework. Look at your bank account. Add up what you've given your adult children in the last 5 years. Ask yourself, did that money help them grow, or did it keep them stuck? There are loans for houses, loans for cars, loans for school, but there are no loans for retirement. Your kids have decades to build. You don't stop giving away time you can't get back. Number 3. Sell the expensive toys that became burdens. I knew a man, Frankie Duca, may he rest in peace. He had a beautiful 32-foot boat, kept at the marina in Sheepshead Bay. He loved that boat. Talked about it constantly. "S, you gotta come out. The boat is like therapy." I asked him once, "Frankie, when was the last time you went out on it?" He had to think. That's when you know you have a problem, when you have to think about whether you're actually enjoying what you're paying for. The boat, rarely used, 6 times a year maybe. The rest of the time, eating money, storage fees, maintenance, insurance, repairs, engine work, hull work, something always needed. Eventually he sold it. Took him 3 years, but he did. And do you know what he said after? "Yes, I feel lighter. I didn't know that boat was so heavy." Everything you own doesn't just sit there. It pulls on your mind, takes your energy, requires attention, consumes your life. In retirement, your mind is all you've got. So whatever your boat is, your RV, the workshop tools you never use, the hobby supplies from 5 hobbies ago, let it go. Someone else will love it. You can love the money it brings you, and you can love the freedom it gives back. Number 4, sell the second car. This one's easy, but most people overlook it. If you're not commuting anymore, if both you and your spouse are home most of the time, how often are you really using 2 cars? My neighbors, the Palmers, both retired, had 2 cars, a Buick and a Toyota. The Toyota sat in the driveway for so long. Birds nested under the hood. Birds. Last year they finally sold it. Do you know what they did with the money? They took a cruise to Alaska, saw glaciers, held hands on the deck. Would you rather have a car sitting in your driveway or a memory of holding hands in front of a glacier? Not even a question. Number 5. Sell your work identity. When I retired from the shop in 2005, I was 86 years old. I thought I was ready. I had hobbies. I had Gloria. I had everything prepared. But the first 6 months, I was lost. 70 years I was S, the shoemaker. S from Benedetto's fine shoes. People knew me for what I did. I knew me by what I did. And suddenly, I wasn't doing it anymore. I'd wake up and think, what's the point of today? Gloria found me one morning, quietly crying. Not loud, dramatic tears, just tears running down my face as I stared at my coffee. She sat down across from me and asked, "Sal, who are you without the shop?" I didn't know. That's the terrifying part. 86 years old, and I didn't know who I was without my work. Here's the lesson you need before you retire. Your job title was never who you were. It was just what you did. You are more than your work. If you don't figure that out before you stop working, retirement will feel like dying while you're still alive. Start now. Find parts of yourself that have nothing to do with your job. Grow them, water them, give them sunlight, so when the work ends, you don't end with it. Number 6. Sell your grudges. I didn't speak to my brother-in-law Marco for almost 30 years. Do you want to know why? I don't even remember. That's the joke. Something about money. Something about disrespect. Something that felt like life or death, and actually was nothing. Marco died in 1998. I found out from my sister Rosa, who had stayed in touch with his family. She said Marco died last week. The funeral was Tuesday. I missed it. 30 years of silence. 30 years of carrying a stupid heavy weight. And for what? Not just Marco. Also time with Rosa, with his kids, with relationships that could have grown. 30 years gone. Here's what you're going to do today, not tomorrow. Think of one person you're not speaking to, one grudge you're carrying. Ask yourself, is this worth dying over? Because that's what it costs. You're spending your dying on it. Pick up the phone. Write the letter. Send the email. Swallow your pride. Pride is the most expensive thing you own, and it pays you nothing. Number 7. Sell your fear of what people think. When I married Gloria in 1991, I was 72, she was 62. She was black. We lived in a neighborhood that wasn't always kind. People talked. At the grocery store, at church, everywhere. Even my own son didn't speak to me for 2 years because he thought I was disrespecting the family. And you know what I did? I held Gloria's hand. And we walked down 86th Street like we owned it. Because I was 72 years old, I had already buried one wife I loved. I had already wasted too much of my life being afraid. I wasn't going to waste another second worrying about what people who didn't love me thought about who I loved. Gloria used to say, the people who matter don't mind, and the people who mind don't matter. And she was right. Most people aren't thinking about you as much as you think. They're too busy worrying about themselves. Stop performing for an audience that isn't watching. Live your life. Love who you love. Wear the weird shirt. Take the art class. Dance badly at the wedding. The opinions of strangers are worthless. The opinions of people who don't love you are worthless. And the people who do love you, they want you to be happy. They're not keeping score. Number 8. Sell your need to control everything. My daughter Lucia, she's 78 now, still sharp as ever, still calls me every Sunday. When she was raising her kids, I drove her crazy. I had opinions about everything. How she fed them, where she sent them to school, what they were allowed to watch. One day she said to me, "Papa, I love you, but you need to stop. These are my children. Let me make my own mistakes." And it hurt. It hurt because she was right. But that's the point. Control is not love. Control pushes people away. I had to learn, still learning at 104, that you can offer advice, but you cannot force anyone to take it. You can share wisdom, but you can't make anyone wise. You can love people, but you cannot live their lives for them. The tighter you grip, the more slips through your fingers. Let go. Trust the people you raised. Trust the people you love. Let them fall. They will get up. That's what humans do. Number 9. Sell your perfectionism. I made beautiful shoes for 60 years. Gorgeous shoes. Shoes that lasted decades. Shoes that people kept their whole lives. But you know what? Some of those shoes had small mistakes. A stitch a little off, leather not perfectly matched. And for years those mistakes kept me awake. I'd think about a shoe I made in 1962, cringe at a tiny imperfection that no one else would ever notice. What a waste, an absolute waste of worry. Here's what I know now. Done is better than perfect. A life lived with mistakes is better than a life not lived because you were too scared to mess up. My father used to say the shoe doesn't have to be perfect. It has to fit. It has to hold together. It has to let them walk where they need to go. Done. Movement. Progress. Forward motion. Stop obsessing over every detail. Stop waiting until something is perfect to start it, try it or share it. Perfectionism. It's just fear, dressed in a nice suit. Take off the suit. Get moving. Number 10. Sell your someday. I had a list. At 50, 60, 70, a list of things I was going to do someday. Someday I'll go back to Napoli. Someday I'll learn the piano. Someday I'll write all my recipes for the grandkids. Someday I'll tell my son how proud I am of him. Someday, do you know what someday really is? A thief, a liar. It steals your life while promising to give it back later. I never went back to Napoli. I never learned the piano. My recipes are still in my head. And my son Enzo, I finally told him I was proud of him. But I was 93 years old. He was 67. A 67-year-old man crying because his father finally said the words he'd been waiting for his whole life. Why did I wait so long? Why do we wait so long? Here's your action step. Do it now. Get a piece of paper. Write down 3 things you're saving for someday. Could be a trip, a conversation, a project, a phone call. Now cross out someday and write this month. This month. Not next year. Not later. Because here's the truth, someday isn't on the calendar. It doesn't exist. The only days that exist are the ones you're in right now. This day, this moment, this breath. I've buried 2 wives I loved. I've buried my sister, my father, my friends. Almost everyone I started with is gone. And the only thing I regret more than my mistakes is the things I didn't do because I thought there would be time. There's never as much time as you think. Not for me, not for you, not for anyone. The real lesson: sell your bitterness. So here's what you got. Sell the big house. Sell the need to rescue your grown children. Sell the expensive toys you never use. Sell the car that just sits there. Sell your work identity. Sell your grudges. Sell your fear of what people think. Sell your need to control. Sell your perfectionism. Sell your someday. That's 10 things. 10 things costing you more than money. 10 things making your life smaller when it should be getting bigger. Gloria, near the end, she was 95. She felt it coming. She grabbed my hand and said, "Sal, promise me something. Promise me you won't stop laughing." And I promised her, I promised I would keep laughing, keep living, keep choosing joy. Not because life is easy, but because bitterness is a waste of whatever time we have left. So here's the real thing to sell. Sell your bitterness. Call someone you love. Say the thing you've been meaning to say. Book the trip. Ask for forgiveness. Give forgiveness, and do it now. Not someday, now. Because I'm 104 years old, and I'm telling you someday is the biggest lie we tell ourselves. Don't wait. Go. Live your life.